J.D. Vance, unlike Donald Trump, apparently has at least a little bit of self-awareness. I'm not going to say he has a lot of self-awareness, but he's got a little bit, right? There's a little bit there. And here's what I mean. NBC News reporter Henry Gomez actually caught up with J.D. Vance this week and asked him, about the rocky start that he's off to. Obviously, the least popular vice presidential candidate since 1980. So he's not doing well at all. And of course, he keeps sticking his foot in his mouth, and he keeps sticking his foot in his mouth with old clips that are resurfacing almost daily at this point. So Gomez wanted to know, hey, man, things aren't going well. Obviously, what do you have to say about how bad things are? And here is what the barely self-aware J.D. Vance said. I knew that when I came out of the gate, there was going to be a couple of days of positive media coverage, and then immediately they would go and attack me over everything that I have ever said in my life. So he gets it. And honestly, that's the way it is, right? You get announced as the nominee, they're going to talk about how great the pick is for a day or two, and then suddenly, boom, everybody hates you. Let's dig up all the dirt. It's what happens in politics. Doesn't matter which side you're on. So he's right about that. That is the self-awareness. But unfortunately for J.D. Vance, that is where his self-awareness ends. Because at that point, he kept talking. And that's always his problem. If J.D. Vance would just say the first thing that comes to his mind, actually wouldn't be that bad. The problem is, just like Donald Trump, he keeps going. So here is what he continued to say, and he actually doubles down on all the horrible comments that have put him on such a rocky start. He added, what I was criticizing and continue to criticize is a particular neurosis in American leadership that I think leads people to say crazy things. Like, you shouldn't have children because climate change is a threat to the future. Climate change may very well be a problem, but it is not a problem that should motivate people to not have families. And I think that attitude is quite damaging. It's quite destructive. You're trying to say that you were only talking about a small subset of the population that was also a small subset of the population that was a small subset of the population, okay? There's not millions and millions of people in this country that are saying, I'm not going to have kids because of climate change. And even if there were millions of people saying that, again, which they're not, it's a tiny subset of a subset of a subset. That would actually be a much more mature decision than to just arbitrarily bring kids into the world, right? That shows that you're thinking ahead into the future and you're looking at what's happening and saying, you know what? This isn't a great environment, literally and figuratively, to bring up kids in. It's too dangerous. I don't want to do that and ruin somebody's life. That is a very mature decision for people to make. So don't attack them for it, but also don't pretend like that's the only people you were talking about. You mentioned childless cat ladies and we're not going to forget it. And per usual, he kept talking. The price of entry of being on the national ticket and giving me an opportunity to govern is you have to take the shots. And so I sort of expected it. I think that, frankly, the people who've made a lot of money and acquired a lot of power screwing the country up are not going to go easily. You mean people like you? You have profited by creating division here in the United States. You won your office, your power, by creating division after you made a lot of money. You do realize that you are the people you're talking about, right? Where's your self-awareness on that? Out there saying, these people who make a bunch of money then get into politics, oh boy, they hate me. Maybe they do if you're talking about you hating the person that you see when you look in the mirror, JD, because that's the only conclusion I can come to. But again, you started off with a little bit of self-awareness, and then you ended it by lacking any and all self-awareness of the fact that you're attacking yourself with your latest comments. Hi, everyone. This here is little Athena, and Athena would like to know why you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced yet. So please, don't let Athena down. Subscribe today.